All of that, the press attention and stuff, and all the time and energy they focused on trying to make President Trump look like he wasn't cognitively fit when he absolutely was, and he didn't do anything to justify that. And then we did the test. He crushed it 30 out of 30. And then we get President Biden in there. This guy doesn't know where he's at. He doesn't know what he's doing. He doesn't even know what office he was running for at times, right? It's very obvious to everyone in the country right now that this guy's got some cognitive issues right now. I'm not his physician. I'm not diagnosing him. I haven't examined him. I don't know if he's got Alzheimer's or if he's got some kind of other, I don't know what's happening, right? All I know is that he's got age-related cognitive decline, right? And he's not mentally fit right now.
He's 78 years old.
He's 78 years old, and you can see it. You don't need to be a physician to look at him and to look at his behavior and some of the other stuff, just the way he shuffles, the way he stares off into space, all these things. I tell people all the time, we all know people that are 100 years old that are sharp as a tack, and we all know people that are in their early 60s that are having a lot of cognitive difficulties, right? Unfortunately, his window for becoming our commander-in-chief and our head of state, it closed a while back. He's not fit for that anymore, right? And so, like I said, you don't have to be a doctor to see that. Everyone in the country knows that right now, whether they want to admit it or not.
That was Texas Congressman Ronny Jackson there, spilling some interesting details about his calls for Joe Biden to take a cognitive test. Ronny Jackson appeared as a guest on the podcast Grounded with Jim Banks, where he discussed his long career and his comparison of the last few presidents. What you heard before was Mr. Jackson detailing how President Trump crushed his cognitive test, but when President Biden takes over the Oval Office, he doesn't know where he is or what he's doing. He says it is very obvious to everyone in the country right now that Biden has cognitive issues and that you don't need to be a physician to know that he is not mentally fit to be running the country. Ronny Jackson is now a congressman, but before that he worked in the White House for 14 years as a physician to 3 presidents. He started off as a junior physician to George W. Bush, but was promoted several times to end up as a direct physician to both Barack Obama and Donald Trump. While his politics aligned more with Donald Trump as a Republican, he praised all 3 presidents he worked with, highlighting how they had unbelievable trust in him as they would have highly confidential discussions in front of him, never asking him to leave the room. While he was serving under Donald Trump, he said he was witness to the media's unfair narrative that the president wasn't fit to run the White House. He suggested to Trump that when he does his physical exam, that would be made public, he should also sit a cognitive test. Jackson urged the president that he had faith he would pass the test and that Trump had nothing to hide, but it was an easy way to get the media off his back. Trump sat the cognitive test in 2018, and Ronny Jackson fronted the media for over an hour to share that Trump had passed and was fit to run the White House despite the media's hesitations. However, with Joe Biden now leading the country as the oldest person to serve in the job at 78 years old, Ronny Jackson is now the one with the hesitations. He tells Jim Banks that after he saw yet another Biden blunder, he tweeted that the president needs to sit a cognitive test, the same way Trump did. But that didn't go down too well with his former boss, Barack Obama.
I just tweeted out, I retweeted that whatever they'd said, whatever Biden had done, and I just put, all I treated was wow, W-O-W, wow, with an exclamation mark. Wow, does anybody remember the cognitive test that I gave at real Donald Trump? Looks like somebody else needs a test. That's all I said, period. I drove down the road about another 20 minutes, ding, I got an email from President Obama, a scathing email. He just tore me up, an entire page about how disappointed he was in me and how it was beneath me as a physician and beneath me as an officer in the military to be attacking Joe Biden like this, and it was a betrayal of the trust that he and his administration had put in me, and he was so disappointed in me and yada yada, and he hoped that I would do a better job in the future, and it was unbelievable. It just really hit a nerve with a lot of people.
In June, Ronny Jackson went on to write a letter to President Biden urging him to sit the test. The letter was signed by 13 other members of Congress. It read, "The American people deserve to have absolute confidence in their president. They deserve to know that he or she can perform the duties demanded of the office, and they deserve to have full transparency on the mental state of their highest elected leader." When Trump was in office, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi proposed a legislation using the 25th Amendment, which would allow Congress to evaluate the mental state of the sitting president. She claimed it was not a direct hit at the then President Trump. Ronny Jackson says by doing that, the Democrats have overplayed their hand because they couldn't have anticipated their own president might be called to have his mental stability looked at. He concluded the podcast by saying he is 100% sure that Joe Biden is incapable of doing the job.
I know what that job entails, both physically and mentally, and how demanding it is. And I can tell you right now, I'm 100% sure that Joe Biden is incapable of doing that job.
I think I'm going to go back and tweet these articles and tag the authors and ask them if they will respond to Joe Biden's cognitive ability in the same way that they attacked Donald Trump. It's just incredible. The hypocrisy is everywhere we look these days. This is just one example.